new front opened by Turkey against Kurds in northern Syria worsens already tense ties between both Ankara and Washington and Kurds and Washington. We look at the deepening divisions. Donald Trump attends the pro-globalisation Davos Economic Forum, but instead of spoiling the party, he launched a charm offensive to lure big business to America. And throughout the week, Afghanistan has seen a wave of deadly terror attacks which have claimed more than 100 lives. A very warm welcome. You're watching The Weekly here on RT International. All the latest headlines and a roundup of the stories that shaped the week. Well, it's been a little over a week since Turkey rolled its first tanks into northern Syria and dispatched its first helicopters into its neighbour. The moves are all in a bid to tackle local Kurdish militia, which Ankara considers terrorists who threaten border security. These are the latest pictures of the ground operation in Syria. Turkish troops have seized control of the strategic point of Mount Barsa, according to government media. In this video, Turkish soldiers are seen together with pro-Turkey Syrian fighters from the so-called Free Syrian Army. The conflict, which began in Afrin region, has the potential to escalate further. The Turkish president says the operation will be extended to other Kurdish-held regions and right up to the Iraqi border. Washington armed the Kurds in the area to help them fight ISIL, whereas Turkey, which has been America's long-standing NATO ally, is now demanding the militia leave the region. It seems both of Washington's allies aren't as friendly as they have been in the past.
We see that the US doesn't support Afrin. We think that's double standards. America has no tools to press on Turkey directly. We demand that the US fulfills its promises and protects liberated areas, including Afrin.
The weapons have been provided to the YPG by the United States. The Americans haven't kept their promise since Manbij. Lately, Trump's statements saying that they won't give any weapons to the YPG anymore have created a crisis of trust.
Ilya Petrenko takes a look at how Turkey and America have turned from friends to almost foes.
Unbelievable. Is this real? A NATO member telling Daddy, you know who I mean? Amerika'nın behave yourself or I'll point a gun at you. Am I exaggerating? A bit. Mr. Erdogan didn't say these exact words, but Turkey's got a prime minister who pretty much did.
Anyone who gives logistical support to the YPG is Turkey's target.
For the record, the YPG equals the Kurdish army, and for all these years, who's been giving the Kurds all kinds of support? Right. Hey, America. The Kurds were extended an olive branch. That's what Ankara calls its military op. But where does the YPG get its guns? America. Tayyip Erdogan couldn't care less why Washington's been helping the Kurds. To destroy ISIL, for this man, the Kurdish militias are no better than terrorists. That explains his latest messages to America.
The U.S. is in the process of creating a terror army on our border. What we have to do is nip this terror army in the bud. America, do not encroach on our borders, do not provoke us, or we will run out of patience.
Does anyone from the U.S. government have anything to say?
We urge Turkey to exercise restraint and ensure that its military operations remain limited in scope and duration and scrupulous to avoid civilian casualties.
Some very restrained counsel there. To be restrained. Think about it. Mr. Erdogan rants at America. U.S. officials don't hit back. Turkey rolls out the tanks, flies out the warplanes, sends soldiers over the border. Washington basically keeps stum. After all, this isn't about Kim, whose slightest squeak makes Donald Trump, for one, roar. So perhaps the Turks and the Kurds have succeeded in one thing together, reducing America to baffled silence.
As Ankara's military operation in Syria steadily expands, so does the international condemnation. The past 24 hours have seen protests in a number of European cities. Throughout the week, such anti-war rallies waved in a whole lot of trouble, when in some places, banned Kurdish militia flags were brought in. Right before Turkey launched its assault, American military command announced its plans to create a border force involving Kurdish militia, a move which infuriated Ankara. The White House quickly backtracked, saying no border force could be created, but that wasn't enough to stop Turkish tanks from entering Syria. Political commentator Abdul Darwish believes the situation risks spilling over into Europe if Washington doesn't make clear its policy in the region.
Kurds will find themselves powerless against the might of Turkey, as we have seen in the unfortunate scenes from Frankfurt and probably other places. It could actually spill over and affect Europe, affect people who think they are far away. It's very, very hard, actually, to read the American foreign policy at the moment. First, the Americans have to explain to their allies and our outside worlds what is their strategy and their policy on the situation. Do they want actually to have a peaceful settlement in Syria and keep the political integrity of Syria as a nation state as it is